apparently going to go live here. All right. Oh, we're live. Nice. Okay. Hello, School Believers, and welcome to part 2 of the Undiscovered Entrepreneurs Entrepreneur Olympics. So today we're going to be talking about the next 2 runners that we have in our Entrepreneur Olympics. We've already talked about we already talked about runner 1 and runner 2. Runner 1 was fear, runner 2 was perfection. So 2 main things that were kind of hold us back from getting across the start line. So we're going to talk about the other 2, but I'm going to go ahead and tell this story over again so you kind of get an idea of what we're talking about, just in case this is your first time coming through. So we're going to start the story here by going to the local Coliseum. The local Coliseum right now is where we're at. And as we're getting into the parking lot, look up and see Entrepreneur Olympics. We are here at the Entrepreneur Olympics. Isn't that awesome? So as we get into the Coliseum, we find our seats, and it's always crowded in there. So you're trying to get through all the people, that kind of thing. So as we're going along there, we go find our seats, and we sit down. And we look at the guy next to us, and the guy next to us has a nice, 3-piece suit on, and he's looking really good. But he has one of those giant foam finger things. He's shaking around like this and saying, "Number 1 is number 1." And you think to yourself, what the heck is that about? Whatever. All right, so we sit down, and we've been waiting a really long time. We spent a lot of money to be able to sit down and actually see this Entrepreneur Olympics. So we look down, and we see the track. Now, the track has the numbers on it and the stripes, and it goes in a big circle and that kind of thing. Oh, and here come the runners. Here come the runners. Yeah, take a look. They're right down there. And what are they wearing? What are the runners wearing? It looks really strange. Like, they have the running shorts on that are kind of colorful, and they have the running shoes on looking good. But they have like jackets and vests and ties and all kinds of. They're not supposed to be. Well, you know what? We're here. We come all this way. We might as well see what's going to happen. So we see all the runners get down there. They get on the ready stance, and they're down. And then here comes the starter guy. I don't know the actual name of the starter guy. He has the starter gun, and he walks up. And he holds the gun up like this and goes, "Ready, set, bang!" And the race starts. So what we're going to do here is just real quick, go over what each runner does, 1 through 5. So the first runner's down there, and the starter guy's there. Ready, set, bang! And the first runner leaps up into the air he gets scared. He leaps up in the air with fear. Turns around, starts running the wrong direction. "Wait, come back. What are you doing?" He's running the wrong way. No, he's running all the way back to the dressing rooms. Man, he got scared of the gun. Well, I don't think we're going to see him again. Not in this race anyway. All right, so now we're going to go to runner number 2. Let's see what runner number 2 does. Ready, set, bang. And the runner gets up and starts running about 2 or 3 steps and stops, shakes her head a little bit and goes, "That's not right. Let's try it again." So he gets down and he's kind of like, "What's going on? I don't like that. Let's try this instead. Let's try to." No, that doesn't feel right either. And he just won't get started. He won't get across that start line. For some reason, he just feels like he's not going to go. So we're probably not going to see him. Okay, let's try runner number 3. Runner 3 looks good. All right, let's see what's going on. So runner 3 goes, "Ready, set, bang." And runner takes off. Oh, okay. At least he got across that start line. All right, let's see. Oh, he's doing really good. He sat down right in the middle of everything, shaking his head. Now I'm close enough to where I could actually hear him. And I hear him say, "Well, what am I even doing here? Who am I to be running in this Olympics? I don't know if I really even belong here. Do I really belong here? I don't know." I don't think he's going to get any much further than that. So we probably won't see him much again. All right, runner number 4. Runner number 4 looks pretty awesome. He's ready to go. And he gets down there. Ready, set, bang. And number 4 takes off. Whoa, look at him go. Man, he's running really fast. He seems to be getting faster. I've never seen a man move that fast. And he goes around he's already passed runner 3. Like, runner 3 is way back there already. Oh, he's getting even faster. Whoa! He's going too fast. Oh, he just jumped over. Wow, he just had a wall. You know, like a cartoon. In a cartoon, he hits a wall and they go, yeah, that's what Runner 4 did. I don't think we're going to see much of him anymore. He's just splattered against the wall over there. So, all right. So let's see what Runner 5 does. It looks a little shaky, but let's see what happens. All right, Runner 5. Ready, set, bang! And Runner 5 takes off, and he starts off in a slow jog. Well, okay, he's moving forward. He got across the start line there. He's moving forward. Rounds the first corner, and he stopped. Well, why would Runner 5 stop? He's in the middle of a race. And he it looks like he's in really deep thought, like he's thinking about something really, really hard. Oh, wait a minute. Wait just a minute. His eyes are getting big. Yeah, he looks like he just got a great idea. Oh, there he goes. He took off again. Oh, he's running really good now. Runs the second corner. He's heading towards that third corner. He's up. Oh, stopped again. Why is he stopping again? Ooh. Wow, he even took a couple steps backwards. I don't know what's going to happen here. Oh, wait a minute. Wait just a minute. There he goes. There he goes again. He's running around the third corner. I think he's going to make it. And the fourth quarter. And he made it. Runner 5 finishes the entrepreneur race. All right. So what we're going to do here is, if you want to look back at some of my other videos, I go through runner number 1 and runner 2. Once again, it's fear and imposter syndrome. So let's talk about runner number 2 is perfection. Number 3 is imposter syndrome. So let's talk about that a little bit. This is the runner that got down, wanted to take a start, but it wasn't just quite right. So he went back again to try start again, but he just never got going. It wasn't perfect. It just didn't feel right. It just didn't feel like the right time to be able to start something like this. How can we equal that to our entrepreneur adventure? I find a lot of people that I've talked to, especially in my coachings, about how things have to be right, how things have to be perfect before they could even start something, before they could even release something, anything like that. It's just so interesting to see how everything just has to be just right. The right day, the right amount of money, the right circumstances in the day, wrong time of year. I don't know. It's really weird how things like this have to happen the perfect way before anybody even gets started. That's perfection. That's 2. This is why it's live, everybody. Okay, so we're going to talk about imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome. That's racer number 3. This is kind of weird. I'm not going to be able to edit any of this. That's okay. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. So runner number 3, imposter syndrome. So this imposter syndrome actually is the one thing that stopped me from moving on in my entrepreneur venture when I first got it started. I really didn't feel like I was good enough. I really didn't feel like that. I don't have any like formal education. I don't have any degrees in anything. So I'm feeling like, who am I to be doing this? Who am I even to be starting a podcast? I'm just a person. Why am I doing this? So it just feels like I shouldn't be doing this. And I up until a certain point, I really felt like I'm just not going to do this. But somebody said something to me really important that really was profound to me. Whenever I would talk to somebody about imposter syndrome and me, I would say my imposter syndrome. I have imposter syndrome. I am owning something that's so negative and so terrible. Why am I owning this? Stop owning imposter syndrome. Don't call it my imposter syndrome. Say the imposter syndrome. I'm experiencing, we just can't own something that terrible, so negative that it's holding us back. So once I felt that, once I understood that if I just changed the way I said imposter syndrome, it no longer held me down. I wanted to keep going. So when we're going on our entrepreneur adventure, we got to really understand that imposter syndrome, yeah, it's going to hit us every once in a while. It hit Obama. Obama always talked about how he felt imposter syndrome all the time. It hits anybody and everybody at one point or another in their entrepreneur adventure, whether you're just getting started, sometimes you're already 10 or 15 years in. Imposter syndrome can hit you at any time. It's how we deal with the imposter syndrome, how we feel during the imposter syndrome, what we could do to get rid of that imposter syndrome feeling. It's how we advance on into our entrepreneur adventure, going on to the next thing. Another thing that make me feel imposter syndrome is comparison to other people. Why can I not be where he's at? I feel like, I want to be him. Whoever that is that you're looking at, there's nothing wrong with having an idol or having somebody to look up to, but let's not compare our entrepreneur adventure to their entrepreneur adventure. We're two different people. We're going to have different feelings. We're going to have different situations. We're going to have different things that people that we're talking to. We cannot compare ourselves to other people when it comes to an entrepreneur adventure. Instead of comparing ourselves to other people, let's compare ourselves to ourselves. Let's compare ourselves to ourselves a week ago. Let's compare ourselves to a month ago. Let's compare ourselves to something that we can see what we made progress in one way, shape, or form. And even if we didn't make progress, even if we went back to it a little bit, we could see what we learned from that, whether it be a failure or anything else in that matter, and be better for ourselves. Some people are so far out there, all you're going to do is depress yourself because there's no way that you're going to be able to get 10 years of experience in a couple of weeks. It's not possible. Why do we put ourselves through such negative things if it's so impossible to do? So instead of doing that, let's see how far we can get as entrepreneurs, as ourselves. So always bear that in mind when you're in your entrepreneur adventure. So runner number 4, the fast start. This one always drives me crazy. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this one too. The fast start, basically just going out there and doing anything. And a lot of that has to do with going out for the money. Everybody wants to follow money. They want that cash. They want quick money. But where does that really lead us in the very end? We're going down a road we have no idea about. We're starting to do things that we have no idea what it's doing, what to do even when we get there. And if we do get a couple extra dollars, what happens to those couple extra dollars? Well, we finally got what we're looking for. We probably go out and spend them on things that we want. We need to understand that the quick money is not the best money. I definitely don't think the quick money is the best money. There's better ways to be able to do something like that for it to last the long term. When we're doing something like this, when we're doing an entrepreneur adventure, we want to have something that's going to last a really long time and sustain us, sustain our legacy, sustain maybe our kids later on down the road. When we're going for the quick money, that's virtually impossible. Also, a lot of people that go for the fast start don't do any kind of research whatsoever, as long as it's making them money. That's going to get you nowhere really, really quick. You're not going to be able to find where your zone of genius at, or even know where your zone of genius is, if you have no idea where to go or where to do the research, or not do any research at all and just kind of go with it. If you don't do the research of what you're trying to accomplish, you're going to accomplish absolutely nothing. Even if you accomplish a little bit, it's not going to add up to anything substantial. It's going to be a quick thing. You're going to have it and it's going to be gone. And that's just how it is. And you're going to find that a lot in looking for just the dollar, trying to follow the dollar, not serving first, not having that mentality where we need to serve first before we ask for money. It's just not going to happen. We need to take time, as much time as we can, to focus on what our zone of genius is and where to find it and how to find our zone of genius. If we don't have our zone of genius, we haven't found our zone of genius, we're going to be lost the whole time. So there's no way. And if we do get into something that's not in our zone of genius, more than likely it's going to be short-lived and it's going to be terrible. It's going to be something that we just don't find any love and abundance and happiness doing. So never go for the fast start. You end up against that, end up splatted against the wall, just like the runner. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about runner number 5. Why did runner number 5 stop? A couple of times, but runner number 5 still made it across the finish line of success. So the runner number 5 started off kind of slow. Instead of a kind of a slow jog, instead of a fast run, kind of like the fast runner. And then stopped. Why would a runner stop? And I kind of equate that to, okay, we need, in our entrepreneurial adventure, there's going to be times where we have to stop and possibly pivot, move things, change things, come up with new ideas. Remember, the runner number 5 got big eyes, got this great idea. And then once we got this great idea, we started going forward again. And we were able to move forward after this idea. Take the time to be able to come up with ideas and find new ways and find new things to get you keep you going. Don't be afraid of stopping and thinking. It's not a rush thing. It can't be a rush thing, because we're going to end up like runner number 4, splatted against the wall. Also, there's a point there where runner number 5 stopped and took a couple of steps backwards. That gets a little bit scary. Why? Oh, we're doing something different. Why isn't this working? I don't know. Understand why. Take a step back. Wait a minute. Now that I've taken a step back, I can actually see. I can see what I'm doing wrong. I can see the different ideas now. Okay, now that I see it, I know what to do. I remember this from the last time I stopped running. Now you can move forward again. Now you can move forward in your entrepreneurial adventure because you were able to stop and see what the difference is, what changes you've made, what pivots that you had to take to be able to continue on in your entrepreneurial adventure. And then finally, we get across the end line. We get across the end line of the success. And it's very interesting that even though runner 5 probably wasn't the best runner of the group, but as they say, slow and steady wins the race. And that's really the way to do it. I've seen many people try all four other ways. And either they don't get started, or they get started and stop, or they get started and stop and sit down and do nothing. I see it so many times when I go through my interviews, when I go through my coachings. It happens. Sometimes, sometimes we need that push. Sometimes we need to talk to somebody else to be able to say, hey, this is my situation. Can you help me with that? And it doesn't even have to be a coach. It could be your best friend. It could be a family member. It can be anybody that's willing to sit and listen to what you have to say. And sometimes when you say it yourself, not so much as in your head, but when you say it out loud, even usually you listen to yourself. It's so weird to be able to hear it in your head when you're sitting there thinking yourself. But when you speak it out loud, it becomes more real. So even though you're not talking to me, you might not be talking to a coach or somebody who even has an entrepreneurial adventure. A lot of times you just need to be able to say it out loud, to be able to hear yourself say it. Sometimes that light bulb will go off. Your eyes will get big and wait a minute, what did I just say? That's exactly what I need to hear. And I heard it from myself. It's always more impactful when you hear it from yourself. So who do we want to be really? Do we want to be number 1 that goes through the fear, goes through the fear of no, the fear of the future, fear of inspiration? Do we want to be runner number 2? Never the perfect moment, never the perfect time, that I accidentally said earlier. Do we want to compare ourselves to others, like runner number 3? Or do we want to be runner number 4, where we start so fast and the first thing we think about is money, and we run so fast we run into that wall and splat against the wall? Or do we want to be runner number 5, who even though gets a slow start, stops, even takes a step back every once in a while, but eventually gets across the start line. I want to be runner number 5, and I'm going to be runner number 5. You'll see. So at this point, I'm just going to say here that I do have information about what I've talked about today. If you go to tuepodcast.net/startline, I have a book that I'm writing that's based on everything that I've talked about here between the 2 talks that I've had a couple months ago and today. You will get updates every time I get a chapter done. You'll get an update on that, where eventually you will get the full book for free if you sign up at tuepodcast.net/startline. So thank you, Scuba Believers, for listening to my ramblings for the last 20 minutes. I really hope that you learned something. Don't forget to look me up on Undiscovered Entrepreneur, and you can look up all my socials and everywhere you want to find me at TUE Podcast. Nope, sorry. At Linktree, that's linktr.ee/DJ Scoob. That's SKOOB. All right. Thank you, Scuba Believers. I love you all. You all have a great evening. Okay. Bye-bye.